It was less than 2 months after my ma died from cancer that I found out I was going to be a dad. The idea of my kid growing up and not knowing how good of a person my ma was and what she was like as a person was just something that kept playing on my mind. So I decided to start writing down short stories and things that happened in my ma's life that I could pass on to the kid and kind of keep her legacy alive. And what I ended up with then was a children's book called The Lady with the Smile, which is 5 short stories all about things that happened throughout my ma's life. I know everybody says this, but to me, genuinely, my ma was the best in the world, and I think her legacy and her message and what she stood by is something that deserves to be kept alive. And not just for me, but the more I thought about it, I genuinely believe that the way she lived her life and how upbeat and positive and stuff she was, I just think it's a good message to pass on to people. You know, I read a quote that said, you have 2 deaths. Once is when you physically pass away, and the second is when people stop uttering your name. My aim with this book is to not allow my ma to have this second death and to keep her legacy alive and try keep the story of my ma out there. The first couple of stories are quite upbeat and light-hearted, and then the last 2 are a little bit more deep and meaningful and have messages of grief and loss for kids to help kids digest those themes a little bit more. I find that when somebody dies in a family, the family try to protect the kids by not talking too much about it. If the kid's having a good day, the last thing you want to do is go over and sit there talking about the person who died and getting the kid upset. But the reality of it is they're suffering the exact same loss that you're suffering. The only difference is they're not getting to speak about it as much as you are with other adults in the family, for example. So hopefully this book will bridge that gap and kind of break down the barrier of being able to discuss these type of things with kids in the family, and hopefully bring a little bit more understanding to grief and loss and struggle and sickness and that sort of stuff. So yeah, a side quest I never thought I'd go on was writing a children's book, but here we are. My first book, it's called The Lady with the Smile. It's available now, and thanks so much if you got to the end of this video, and have a good day.